All right. Welcome everybody to I guess this is going to be the FY25 cycle one. Amazing that I'm saying 25 already. But this is the Going Pro info session. This is our second one. We're going to record this one. So if you need to go back and listen again to pick up that little nugget that you might have forgotten, you can do that on our website. So we'll also be sending that link out in an email after this presentation, just so everybody's on the same page. We will send the link to this recording as well as this PowerPoint as well. So we'll get started here. Thank you for coming. I'm going to just talk a little bit about the business services team in Northwest Michigan Works at first here. So who we are, there are 4 BSRs, we like to call them, business services representatives across our 10-county area. There are also 5 apprenticeship specialists across that same 10-county area. And most of those individuals are on this call. If you haven't met the one that's in your area, just contact us and we will get you in contact with them. There's no wrong door for our teams. Along with those representatives and specialists, there is an apprenticeship support specialist as well as a business services specialist that both cover the 10-county area admin responsibilities such as going pro paperwork. So I'm imagining that some of you on this call probably already know Kyle. He might have gotten in touch with you about previous awards. So in addition to all of that, we have another person on our team, a success coach in Emmett and Charlotte County. Our success coach up there sits with 8 companies, 7 right now. So if you are in Emmett or Charlotte County and you want to be a part of the Business Resource Network, do let me know. That person goes in once a week for 4 hours, and her job currently, Kate Stolarski at this point, is nothing but retention, keeping employees employed at your place of business. So we have one of those. It's a successfully run program. It's been over 5, maybe 6 years now that program is instilled and keeping people employed for those businesses. So what do we do? I'm going to move this picture of you guys over here so I can see. So what do we do? So our business services department for Networks Northwest, we are Michigan Works, the talent side. But other business service teams that we have are Apex Accelerators. If you're looking to work with the government at all, and that can be anywhere from a county government, all or township, all the way up to the feds, they can help you with that. So we have those people right in our building. Apprenticeships. You've heard a lot about apprenticeships lately. We have the sister team in business services for Michigan Works is apprenticeships. So that team run by Evelyn Split, and I already outlined that she has a whole big team to help you in any of your apprenticeship needs. Then we have the Business Resource Network, like I said, Emmett and Charlevoix, and then we also have the Global Trade Alliance. So anything export related, we have some resources there. Mostly we have connections to the state for anything that you're looking for export, whether you're looking to start it, need training in it, need connections overseas, that is all possible through that program. The actual services that we have. So our team, the business services team and the apprenticeship team together, what we actually bring to the table for you is that we'll help you with hiring. We'll help you with the job posting on the Pure Michigan Talent Connect. We'll even, look at your job descriptions and see if we can bring them up into the 21st century, or if you just need a refresh, we can be that third party that can look at those for you. We do job seeker events, whether that's employer of the day, or you're looking at a career fair, whether that's on your site, our site, with multiple employers, just you, we can help with any of those. And then, of course, access to job seekers that are working through our system. So we have a lot of case managers, and they have anywhere from 10 to 50 people on their caseload, more right now as we come out of the pandemic and everybody seems to be coming back to the system. So that's a double-edged sword, but those are individuals that are working through our system that we could turn your way. Training, which is why you're on the phone call right now. The Going Pro Talent Fund is one of those. We have on-the-job training incentive. So if you're hiring somebody that's coming through our system, but they don't have every skill set that you're looking for, well, guess what? We can incentivize you, and those contracts can be anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 or more, for you to hire that person and train them on the job so that you're not out while you're training them. We'll reimburse you for that. So that's a great program. The Going Pro Talent Fund, of course. And then there's other options if you're trying to avoid layoffs and some of your team just need this skill set to bring on a new line of work. We can help pay for that kind of a training. And then the connections, of course, and this is by no means an exhaustive list, but at the MEDC, the MMTC, and that's the Michigan Economic Development Corporation and the Michigan Manufacturers Technology Center, the MyStem Network, all the EDOs, any chamber in the area, anybody that's not a chamber but is that economic developer in your area. We have all these connections, and we want to make them if it's appropriate. So if you're in need of that kind of thing, our team is there for you. So just like it says, why are we here? The Going Pro. We want to learn the basics of the Going Pro Award. We want to learn of any changes that have occurred. Of course, if there's some veterans on the phone call, there are some changes. So we'll focus on those, especially the scoring priorities this year. And then I think I have pictures of the team. I can't remember which PowerPoint this is, but if not, I can introduce you. No problem. So just a little bit of an overview. So just getting to the very basics of the Going Pro Talent Fund. The training that you're going to do needs to lead to an industry recognized credential, and it all counts towards Governor Whitmer's 60 by 30. So 60% of the state attaining their educational goal or a certificate post high school, post-secondary certificates by 2030. So we're on board with that. Any of these certificates that individuals are getting will count towards that. The Going Pro Talent Fund provides individuals with employment. So if there are new people that you're going to hire, or employment could mean a promotion, that kind of thing. So individuals with employment, individuals with recognized credentials, and strong wages. And it also is going to aid you, the employer, in training and developing and retaining current and newly hired individuals. So we want to make sure that not only are you training and upskilling those people that are currently on your staff, but we want you to look into the future and project how many people you could hire into, say, your entry-level positions, and get them on this training plan as well, and then take care of them the next year in the next upskilling that you want to do. So it could go year to year. This is a year-to-year application with 2 cycles, one in the spring and one in the fall. But you can apply once a year, or once every 2 cycles, to continue that training. So that helps for sure. And the last bit of overview is it's to ensure the employers have the talent they need to compete and grow. So we all know that in order to grow and compete in this industry, or in all of our industries in this area, we need that growth. And this is supposed to help that. Just some stats. So this is a statewide stat, or these are statewide stats. From the very beginning, and way back in 2014 till this year, minus 1 year for COVID. So the total number of awards is over 7,000, almost 7,500. The average award amount, about $1,000. So this is not going to be, just like a onesie or a twosie. It can, for sure. And it's not going to take, hundreds of thousands of dollars. There is a cap of $500,000 per application as well, just so you guys know that. But this is the average around the state that people went after. So right around 40,000. So if you're close to that, if you're over it, if you're under it, doesn't really matter, but that's the average. The average training cost per person. So you're allowed up to 2,000 per person, unless you're an apprentice, then it's up to 3,500. But just so you know, the average training cost per person is $1,400, or has been. The total amount funded, over $275 million, and over 200,000 people have been trained through this program, which is a staggering number. And that's as of July of 2024. So just last year, so fiscal year 24, the last two cycles, they awarded over $63 million. Almost 2,000 applications were received. 1,200 of those were awarded. So you can see very clearly that it is a statewide competitive grant. Only 62% of the awards were funded, or applications were funded. That means just over 11,000 people were hired and trained. 26,481 current employees were trained. So that, yeah, those up, that's, wow, you're getting up there in just 1 year. So, and then out of that big giant number, 5,295. So 5,295 US DOL registered apprentices were trained. And we want that number much, much higher. So if there is any training needs, if you already have a training program, but you want to put, a little more oomph behind it, US DOL registered apprentices can be that solution. And our apprenticeship team is more than happy to have that conversation with you. So let us know. Average award amount was just slightly up, 52,240 last year. So we're getting some good trainings. Okay, so the cycle 2 performance so this is the latest numbers in our region, so region 2. So the last cycle, we were awarded just shy of $1 million, so 906,000, right? 28 out of 39 applications were awarded. You'll notice, slight humble brag here, that we had 72% of our applications in this region awarded. That's higher than that 62%, and we're proud of that. 171 individuals hired and trained, 291 current employees, and out of that number, 66 were registered apprentices. Again, even for our region, we want that number to go up, and that means that there's ample opportunity for more apprenticeship programs to be had here. Average award amount, 32,000. Cost per trainee, we're just below that 2,000 mark there. And an employer contribution. I always put this one out there because this is a great story to be told. So we were awarded in our area 906,000, but the employer contribution, this is what you're paying above and beyond what you're getting awarded back. So this is your investment. So you're investing, if you add those numbers together, you're investing $4 million about. But you're only getting $1 million back. So there's a huge training investment in our area. And that is a really good story to be told because that means the investment in our people is important to us. The rest of the state sees that. The rest of the people that are in Lansing and then down in DC can see that story and want to give us more money because we're making such a big investment already. So that's one of the things that I like to point out is that employer contribution piece. Okay, eligible employers. So on this one, you have to have the need for this training. And if you're talking to us, we're going to very quickly ascertain that, yes, you do need this. So you have to have the need for skill enhancement. You have to be physically in Michigan, so the physical presence in Michigan. And you have to be a non-government private entity. You can be for-profit or a nonprofit. You have to be compliant with all state tax obligations. And that, if you are not, or if you're flagged, you will be, depending on your score, if you're awarded, they will give us, I think it's 60 days to figure out what that state tax obligation is and take care of it. When I say they'll give us, I mean you. They'll give you 60 days to either say, yeah, that's taken care of, or no, it's not. If it's taken care of in that 60 days, then your award will be go through. If it's not, then it won't go through. So it's very important that if we come back to you and say, hey, you were flagged for a state tax obligation, here's a phone number to call. We won't know anything about it. So any questions that you have to take care of that with the state people. But we will give you the number to call to take care of that. Once you hear back that it's taken care of, you tell us, and then we'll tell the Going Pro state team. They'll verify it, and then we'll be headed through. So that's just an important thing to note. And if it happens, we'll let you know. You have to be willing to participate under the program's eligibility parameters and guidelines. A little boilerplate right there at the end. Slid it right in. Okay, so not eligible to apply. I won't read all these, but if you are one of these, sometimes like the county road commissions come up, or municipally owned utilities come up. Even the community mental health authorities have come up before. You are not eligible to apply, and unions are not, but they may be training providers. So that's their role here with this particular grant. Okay, eligible trainees. Every eligible employee, current or new, must meet all of the following criteria. So anybody that's on the training plan has to be a permanent full-time employee. And that could be 32 hours a week. And just a note, seasonal and or part-time employees are not eligible. So you have to have that 32 hours a week to be full-time, considered full-time for this grant. You have to work primarily in Michigan. This kind of comes up on the border with the other states, and for whom the employer pays all applicable taxes to the state of Michigan. 18 years of age, they have to be 18, and legally authorized to work in the U.S. All right, for current employees, this is, we've changed the definitions around a little bit, but this is just a little bit more detail into that. So current employees, individuals on an employer's payroll at the time of application or hired at least 31 days prior to the award. So that would be a current employee. Individuals promoted or moved into a new position, they are considered a current employee. Individuals moved from part-time to full-time, also considered a current. Individuals laid off, furloughed, or fired, then rehired, also a current employee. Individuals who have previously worked for the employer through a temporary staffing agency, leasing agency, or a contract with a form 1099. So any 1099s that are working for you that you promote into a position or bring on full time, those would be considered current employees. And this is just kind of where you're going to put them on the training plan that you receive. Okay, so the new employees. So individuals hired 30 days prior, so on or after the effective award date. So we're going to be looking at an October application period. And then we're going to wait until into December to see if you've gotten the award. And then if you were awarded, that we're on track for a January 1st start as of now for the training period. So the new employee could be hired in December, 30 days prior to that January 1st date, on January 1st or after that effective award date. So that's what that one is meaning. mytalent.org should be used as a resource to obtain potential candidates for the interview and selection process. So if you do have new hires that you're putting on here, we would love to help you put them on the the Michigan Talent Connect. And we will then make sure that your ad is as clean and inviting as possible. Kyle Ray is one of the guys on our team that will help you with that, but each BSR knows how to do that. So it is something that they say is a requirement. And if you have new hires on there, we're happy to help with that. Individuals who have not previously worked for an employer through a temporary staffing agency, leasing agency, or 1099. So if they weren't working for you in that respect, then they could be a new employee. The USDOL apprentice and non-apprentice 90-day retention begins upon completion of training and must be completed within 1 year to date of the award. So they would need, in order to receive full reimbursement. So basically what this is saying is that you can have a new apprentice, a USDO registered apprentice has to complete the 90-day retention within the year. So then this applies only to the OJT portion of that training. And if there are any questions on that, we can definitely go through that in detail. And each BSR will know exactly what you want to know on that. Okay. So reimbursement rates. If you're coming back after a little while, the reimbursement rates have changed. Up to 2,000 for current trainees or newly hired, up to 3,500 for apprentices. And reimbursement takes place after all training is complete. Okay. So here we go. Here's the path. It's not as windy as this road implies. I apologize for that. I said it. I said last time I was going to straighten that road out. I'll get on that. But basically, the process is you're going to see at that URL that there's an authorization request that you need to put in. Don't go right now and do it because it won't work. It might go through, but it won't allow us to do that in the system, the WeBloom system, the online application system. If you do it right now, you'll just have to do it again. So wait until that October application window, and then will get you in there. But that authorization request signifies to us that you want to put an application in. So we're going to have to accept that request or approve that request. Before we approve that request, what we're going to ask from you is a training plan. So right there, required to give details of proposed training. So you do this training plan, and we can send that to you now. We can send it to you after this is over. You can ask your BSR for this, but that is what we're going to need to move forward after that authorization request comes to us. So basically, you have two options. You can go on the WeBloom site, use that URL right there. You can request, you can do the authorization request, and that will ping us, and we will then send you a training plan. Or you can just ask us, especially those that have worked with us before. Go to your BSR and say, I need my training plan. You guys get the training plan. You do the authorization request and send the training plan to us at the same time. And then you're on to the application stage. So then you're doing your application. You can ask us any questions. We're there along that journey with you every step of the way. We're going to assess that final application. So make sure that you've gotten all the points that you can get. And if we think that you can get more points, we'll strategize with you. Then you're going to submit that application to us as the MWA, the Michigan Works Agency. So we, as Michigan Works, have a small part of the application that we have to fill out, but it's also another set of eyes on like a final version of it. Once the BSR finishes their portion and it's a good to go, we will submit it to Leo. And then with those revisions complete, they will take a look at it and score it, put it in line to be awarded or not. And then, just like it says, it's a waiting game. So you're going to put it in October. We'll likely know in December if you're approved for that January start date of your training. And hopefully at the end of the journey, just like this one, you'll have a big star with a Going Pro Talent Fund award agreement. Okay. So I said in the beginning that I would talk about the scoring priorities because they did change a little bit. Here is what happened to them. And I'm going to skip this slide and you'll get this slide, don't worry, because the nuts and bolts of all of these are on the next few slides here. You'll notice that the high priority industry sector is still there. So if you are one of these lucky industries, agribusiness, construction, education, energy, healthcare, hospitality, outdoor recreation, or hospitality and outdoor recreation, information technology, infrastructure, manufacturing, or mobility, if you tell us that you are one of those industries, then you get 9 points. If you're outside one of those industries, we can have a conversation, but most of the time, it's if you're outside one of those and there's no other part to your business, you're getting the 0. So it's a 0 or 9 on that. EV mobility and infrastructure. So if your application includes training directly applicable to electric vehicles or mobility or related infrastructure, then you can get another point. So if your training does relate directly to those, then let us know and we'll make sure that you get that point. Here's a new one. So increasing household access to high-speed internet. So if your application includes training directly applicable to this, to increasing household access to high-speed internet, there's going to be a lot of construction companies under this. There'll be a few of those other things that are directly applicable to this. And we have a nice link to the governor's My New Economy Plan. And that's what she's basing this point off of, is her want and the need for increasing household access to high-speed internet. So you get 0 or 1 for that as well. So if you're a company that has a question about that, just let us know. We'll walk you through it. All right. So creating or preserving affordable housing units. This is another new one. So if the training directly is directly applicable to preserving affordable housing units, again, a lot of construction will be under this. Others can come under this as well, but that's kind of where we're seeing this one go. You get the 0 or 1. So it's kind of like a bonus point there if you're going to be doing that. Okay, so college credit training. So if the application includes training in partnership with a community college, a university, or a third party, you're getting some points here. Now, this is a tiered point system on this one, just like last time. Points to earn 6 points, a minimum of 1 course that results in college credit. So if you have a college credit course on your training plan, you can get the 6 points. You go down to 3 if it's a non-credit course provided by a community college, a university, or a third party. So, and we know that this middle one right here, for instance, the Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center, their classes are one of those third parties as defined. So there you go. So there's that. If you are not doing one of those, then you get the 0 there. And just, it has a note, the OJC does not score points in college credit, must be conferred. So we have to know about it as the business services team and the people that are helping you with your application. We have to confirm that it truly is training that it results in a college credit. We seen across the state last year where plenty of people were putting college credit on there because they thought that it was, and then it turned out that that wasn't a college credit course. They got no credit. And so that changed their scoring, and they might not have gotten that award if they would have put the correct answer in there. So they're going to look at that. So we just have to confer. Industry recognized certification or license. Okay, so if you have a training that results in an industry recognized certification or a license, we're talking like the builder's license, we're talking like a CINA license. These things can get you points. So you get to earn 3 points if you can prove that that includes technical hard skills training and results in an industry recognized credential or license within the training period. And that training period is the year, that 12 months. So you have to have the certificate within that year or the license. Here are some more examples. The certification earned through a training program and subsequent assessment. So just like I said, the CINA, the certified nursing assistant, it could be a project management, the PMT, or any of the CompTIA stuff that a lot of individual companies are taking advantage of these days. The license, you know, so if you need a CDL, that's a big one, an LPN, even a professional surveyor, the license. As long as you're getting that training and you're getting that certificate within the training period, the year that you have, then you can go after those points. DE&I. So to earn 5 points, employer must say yes, and the MWA must attest that the business is at least 51% owned and controlled. Day-to-day operations and long-term decisions are managed by said category. So that will mean, I'm hoping I have, that would mean, so it would be women-owned, it would be veteran-owned, persons with a disability-owned.
Minority-owned.
And minority-owned. Thank you. I knew there was one more. Thanks, Kyle. So if you're one of those and you own it 51%, there you go. You can have it. There is a note down here. 50% is acceptable in the case of only 2 individuals. So if it's, for instance, if it's a husband and wife that own the business, if they own 50-50, and the wife in this case, or if he's a veteran, it won't be 51% owned, but 50 is acceptable in that scenario. And then, another way to get DEI is the geographically disadvantaged business enterprise. And I have a special note down here because the geographically disadvantaged business enterprise needs to exist in qualified opportunity zones. We have maps that we will go on and push your address into. And if you are in an opportunity zone, you're automatically qualified. If you're in a hub zone, you need to be certified. And that process, you can find more out about that process here at this website. So if you're in the hub zone, you're not automatically pushed through. You have to be a certified small business concern. And luckily, our Apex Accelerator team, which I spoke about at the very beginning, can help you with that process. And in fact, you're incentivized to work with them because if you do work with them to get this certification, you go right up to the top of the list. And they're probably working with more than one, so maybe you won't be the very first one, but you'll skip to the top in priority. So again, for the geographically disadvantaged business enterprise, you can be in an opportunity zone, and that gets you get pushed right through, you get the points automatically there. If you're in a hub zone and not an opportunity zone, you have to be a certified small business concern. Okay, USDL registered apprenticeship. So to earn 2 points, a minimum of one apprentice and up to 25% of all trainees on the plan need to be apprentices. To earn 25 to 50% of all trainees need to be apprentices. And to earn that coveted 7 points, more than 50% of your trainees on your plan have to be apprentices. It's just a slight change in the point value there. Otherwise, that's the same as last time. So telephone priority to support USDOL apprenticeship completion, funding just a little bit more on apprentices. So if you have an apprentice that's going into a 4-year program, you are allowed to put them on your training plan all 4 years. The MWA must certify that the employer has a certified USDOL program. So it's not enough for you to say, yeah, I've got apprentices, I got a program. We have to know that it is a USDOL registered apprenticeship program. And if you're looking to find that out, like you're taking it over for somebody else that had been there for a long time, we can help with that as well. MWA will provide the employer's name, the sponsor name, which can be you. If you're working through our apprenticeship team, that would be us. We're also going to supply the Rapids ID and the name of each of those apprentices via a form so that they, at the state, can then validate that, yes, this is an actual apprenticeship. This is an apprentice. We would reimburse for the training. The regional median wage. Okay, so this is the big points right here. To earn 11 points, the hourly median wage must be equal to or above the regional median wage. No later, this is a new part, no later than 90 days post-training completion. So if you're right there, right? If you're missing it by pennies, that regional median wage, but you know that you have the year and then 90 days after the training period is up for them to make more than that. So they would get a raise in there somewhere. If you know that, then you can say yes to this. But that's got to be everybody. Your regional median wage is calculated with everybody in mind on that training plan. So we'll take a pretty close look at this. Kyle and I, we sweat sometimes at the end. New this year is that you have to be over that median wage, or you're in danger of losing the entire award. So that regional median wage, if you say yes to this, that you can't go below it, or else you're in danger of losing that entire award. And that regional median wage for Northwest Lower Peninsula, our 10 county areas, is $20.62. All right. The new employer has not received an independent or an ELC award. So if you are somebody that is brand new to the system, you haven't received an individual or an employer-led collaborative award for the last 2 years, then you get incentivized. You'll get 2 points for that. And then the size of the funds requested. So you get the max points in this category if you are below $60,000. If you're 60,001 up to 120, you get 3, and then so on down the list. The average ask is below that 60,000, but there are companies in our area even that are asking for much more than that. So if you're right on the edge, that might play into like a little bit of strategy when it comes to that. So we'll just see where you land with the wants, needs, and desires that you put into the training plan. And then we'll come back to you, or you can yourself kind of make that judgment call. Okay. So maintaining application scoring criteria at closeout. Scoring criteria section subject to deobligation or rescission at closeout if the original pledged intent of the application is not upheld. So right here, we're just kind of bullet pointing which one of these things could affect. If you say that you're going to go after college credit, but you don't end up going after college credit for whatever reason, those courses that are related to that college credit are then subject to deobligation. So we couldn't move that to another part of the plan. We couldn't use that money for something else. It's just gone. The classroom and the third-party training, same way. The USDOL, registered apprenticeship training, is the same way. So if you identify these 5 people are going to be apprentices on this plan, I want 3,500 for each one of those because my training cost is well above that. But you struggle to either find those apprentices, they are let go, they leave, whatever, and you can't replace them with more apprentices, then that money is also subject to deobligation. Certification and license training, if you identify some of the training on your training plan as those, they have to stay those. They can't be moved to another category. And then I already spoke about the regional median wage. If you dip below that, that's the one that if you dip below that with everybody on your training plan, the entire training plan is subject to deobligation at that point. Multiple award cycles. We're talking about cycle 1 though. FY25 cycle 1. The application period is slated and it's on time, subject to legislature and all of their business that they have, but October 1st through the 18th. So deadline to submit applications is before 5 o'clock. If the clock says 5, it will not be accepted. So it has to be before 5 on that Friday, October 18th. Training period, still slated. Like I said, for now, January 1st of 2025 through the December 31st, 2025. And then the employer-led collaborative is to be determined, but usually that opens up in about March. And we'll keep a close eye on that because I know that there are some companies that want to be a part of that. Multiple application award cycles. So 12-month training cycle. Training must be completed within 1 year of the date awarded. This has not changed. No extensions will be approved. So in order to apply for FY26 cycle 1, FY25 awardees must complete the training by that December 31st date. So you have to be done. FY25 awardees that complete the training by June 30th of 2026 may apply for that cycle 2. So there's that option.
Clarify that second bullet point is for if you're awarded in cycle 2. If you're awarded in cycle 1, you have to be done by the cycle 1 deadline. But if you're awarded in cycle 2, you can complete by the FY21 or 25 cycle 1 deadline of December 31st and then apply in cycle 1 next year, or you can, if you are awarded in cycle 2, complete the training by the normal deadline of June 30th.
Thank you, Kyle. And then this is a new one that we want to highlight. An employer with multiple sites must apply for each site separately. This is something that they put in. This is something that I'm actively fighting, but I don't know that I'm going to win that. So if you are an employer with multiple sites, we will help you with that. But just know that each site might have to apply separately. Employers may apply in cycle 2 if not awarded in cycle 1. The ELCs, just a little bit about them. It's a separate application and scoring criteria than the independent. They set aside funds for this, and I'm forgetting it's a smaller amount, but amount is based on the overall funding availability, and it's an open application until the set aside funds are exhausted. But like I said, if it opens in March, we want to get on it pretty quickly. So, and there you go, beginning in March. 8 subject to change. One ELC award per employer based on employer location. May have no more than one independent award and one ELC award based on your location. So you can have both, but you cannot have more than one of those, of each one. Employer partners may be from across the state. So if you have a sister location somewhere else, or you just know of a company that is doing the exact same training and you guys are in some sort of collaborative together at a state level and you want to apply, go right ahead. That is perfectly acceptable. Classroom training only, with the exception of the employers holding shared OJT for the US DOL Registered Apprenticeship Training Standards.
Rob, before you move on, we had a question in the chat about what an ELC is. Can you just give a quick general definition of what a going
absolutely.
ELC is?
Yeah, and I'm seeing that I missed a few of the chat. So if there are questions in the chat, Kyle, just let me know, and we'll go through those as well.
I've been answering most of them.
Okay, good. The employer-led collaborative is just that. It is a collaborative of employers. It needs to be 2 or more, and you are looking to band together for some training. In our area, I will tell you that it kind of works pretty well if, say, you want some lean training from MMTC, for instance, that you can supply maybe 2 people that you want to go through this training. But that's not enough to go through the class. The class has to fill up. So you band together with multiple other companies that want that same lean training. You talk to MMTC and you say, now we have 8 people across 3 companies. And then you can write this application to get reimbursed for that training based on the fact that you guys have banded together and you're part of an ELC, an employer-led collaborative. And that might mean that you are in maybe a lean consortium together, something to that effect. But somewhere along the line, you guys are not just starting to talk to each other, that you have had a relationship in the past. Okay, I hope that answers that. And just even more details about it. Apparently, I love to talk about details about these employer-led collaboratives. So yeah, just like I said, it has to be at least 2 partner employers. It needs compelling evidence of a collaborative. Intent must be explained in the statement of collaboration. So in the application, there's going to be a lead employer. And that lead employer has just a little bit more to do with the application than the rest. And we'll help you with that. Don't worry about that. But the statement of collaboration is one of those items. And that is who you guys are, how you came together, what this application is for, those kinds of things. Kind of like a rationale for training that we no longer have on the independent side. So once awarded, funds cannot be shared from one awarded employer to the other. So once you, the lead has to do this as well, but everybody will do a training plan. And if you identify 6 people on your training plan, those 6 people can't not take it. And then you give that money to somebody else in the collaborative. That cannot happen. It has to be for you. If you're not going to use it, then the money has to go back. If an ELC is not awarded and available ELC funds have not been exhausted, employers may reapply. The new ELC must be created and WeBlooms with improvements from the original submission. So if for some reason you are not awarded, if we didn't get the point threshold, and you guys as an ELC want to go back to the drawing table, we can do that, certainly. Okay, how do I get started? I talked a little bit about this, but the authorization request can be your first piece. But with that, we're not going to approve that authorization request until you develop a training plan. So however you need to get the training plan, ping us with that authorization request or talk to your BSR. You'll get that training plan in your hands. You'll get it back to us. We'll approve your authorization request, and then you can move on to the application part. You're going to fill that out, looking at the point categories, strategizing with us on how to get points. If you've done it before, you're going to have really great knowledge base to start with, but all the new things we kind of look at and see if we can fit you into any of those point categories as well. Lovely picture. Go ahead. Nope, that was just in my head. Okay. So the training plan here, this is what it looks like this year. We've made just a couple overhauls to this. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to tell me what training provider you have. You're going to tell me the course name that you're going through. And then the training type, there's a drop-down menu that will give you, was it 4 or 5 choices? Maybe less than that. But then I also want the cost per person that's going through that training. And then the courses will actually autofill on the right-hand side over here. But also we need the employee type, whether they're an apprentice, a new hire, a current, those kind of employee types. We're going to need their name. And we want a job title if it's a new hire. So you can just tell us that it's an operator, for instance. And then an hourly wage for that new person, whatever your starting salary is. And then obviously for a current, what their current wage is. Because we will be using that as a base and then asking you later what their wages are so that we can share with the state that they have been getting promoted or raises throughout. Couple things to remember just out of this entire presentation. The training plan requirement, remember, that's where we're really going to start. You can do that authorization request, but until we get that plan, we won't approve you. The median wage requirement now is 2062. Make sure you go back and look at that scoring criteria. And like I said, this will be posted. We are going to get an employer guide. I don't believe it's out yet, but they will send it to us and it'll be on our site that you will have access to. And then your BSR can actually get it to you as well. And that will kind of walk you through all the different requirements as well. You can also look at last year's. Like I said, there are changes, but if you really want to look at something, last year's is still on our page. Separate sites are required to submit their own applications. I know that puts some employers doing a lot of work. Like I said, we'll be there by your side to help with that. But at this point, and I'm actively talking to the state about having exceptions for that rule. So stay tuned on that. But at this point, we're going to have to submit for each site. Your impact story. I always give my speech about the impact story. You can take 2 minutes or you can take 2 days on the impact story. This is a requirement for you to get reimbursed. It's basically you telling us what you thought, how this helped you, tell us how you feel, so that we can then turn that into a story that, it says it right there. It's an impact story. You can put quotes in there from you and the trainees. You can put pictures in there, them holding their certificates. But that impact story is shared with the legislature here in Michigan and then pushed to the federal level as well so that we can get more funding for this program. This is a program that is supported on both sides of the aisle. It is a program that has really helped. It has the metrics to show that, but it's really about those success stories and pulling on those heartstrings. That's where the money comes from. So we will ask you to do it. And like I said, 2 minutes, 2 days, whatever you want to put into it. So that's the impact story. Partners involved in your application. So did MMTC bring you to the table? Did another economic development corporation bring you to the table? And they are involved in some way, we're going to make sure that they know. So they won't get any of the training plan information that you send. So don't worry, those wages in particular are not shared with anybody. And nobody's going to get that part of your information, but they will know that you did submit. And so we will make sure that you know where a copy of your application went. Reimbursement takes place after all training is complete. I get a question every now and then, like, can I get reimbursed in the middle of this? No. Reimbursement takes place after all the training is complete. Just a little bit on the impact story. I won't go over this. You can read this when you look at the thing, but it's not that much to fill that out. Positive impact, benefit to you, a testimony from you or the trainee, and then you can. This is my favorite part: additional feedback on the talent fund experience. So if you have something that you really want to share that was positive, great. If you have something that is negative, please share that with us. We want to make this as good and as useful as we can. So any and all feedback is encouraged. Okay, modification allowances. So we talked about this a little bit already, but it's worth going over a little bit again. Modifications that maintain the original pledged intent. So you're telling us at the very beginning, and they're scoring you based on what you said in the beginning. So we want to keep that original intent as much as possible. The following components of the training plan are connected to scoring criteria and may result in deobligation of funds if altered through a modification or a closeout. So like I said before, if you identify somebody that's going through training, but they're no longer with you, unless you can put somebody else in the exact training, that we're going to have to rescind that piece of the award. And it goes the same for if you're a community college, a university, or a third party. If the training was identified that you got the points for the certification or license, the US DOL, Registered Apprenticeship, OJT, and the RTI, if you're not able to complete those in the original intent, those could be pulled. The funds from that part of the application and award could be rescinded. And then if you fall below that regional median wage at the end because of modifications, the whole award can be rescinded at that point. So what we'll do is we'll work with you and make sure that that sort of thing does not happen. Kyle is amazing at spreadsheets, as I'm sure many of you are. So we'll just make sure we plug everything in, check it twice, and make sure that none of these things have happened. If they have, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And then I love this slide so much, I put it in here twice. But all the way from the authorization request all the way to your award, we're with you all the way. So just ask your questions when you have them. Call us up, hit us on the text, whatever you need to do. Okay, there are some employer expectations for this grant. Be actively involved in the planning and designing of your training project. You'd be amazed, especially back when this first started. You'd see some training providers just literally do the training plan for people. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to be in the know. So if you didn't get a look at that, and then I come back to you and say, okay, so you said these many people, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that training was not done, then we would have a problem. So just being actively involved in that planning process is an expectation. Realistic goals and expectations. This comes up a lot when you know that you need 50 new people to run this new line that you're going to get. Your hiring practices show over the last 2 years that you've been able to hire 2 people per year. We might have a conversation with you. We might not change your mind, but we want to make sure that you know that you have to hit that goal or that money is rescinded, and it doesn't look good on the next application if you've done that once or twice in a row. So we always will have that conversation with you. Pay wages to employees that are equal or greater to the prevailing wage for the local market. So prevailing wage for us just means that you are in line with the rest of the area, that you're not so far below. And remember that regional median wage is 2062 in order to get those points. So if you're hitting that 2062, you're definitely in that prevailing wage category. So there's that. Provide training data via training plan document. So that training plan is an integral piece to what we do to keep track of the award. So make sure that you're providing that data. Sign and return the Going Pro Talent Fund agreement shortly after the award is announced. And we'll have, maybe a half hour to an hour lead on the state because they will put out a press release. But we'll be contacting you if you're awarded or not. And we will send a training plan, I'm sorry, a Going Pro Talent Fund agreement to you. And this agreement outlines exactly what you said you were going to do in the training, and then what we will need in order to reimburse you. So it's kind of a good document to have for reference. Provide at least one impact story. Commit to retain employees at the completion of training. And that kind of goes without said these days. Provide wage information prior to training, post-training, and 6 months post-training. So that wage information that we're going to ask for the individuals on your training plan, we're also going to ask it immediately after your training is done. Well, technically, we're probably going to ask in December when the training window closes. So you could be done in June. We'll ask you, or you could provide sooner, but we'll ask you sometime in December, like what that is, what's their post-training wage. And then 6 months after. So for this training that would need to be done in December, we're likely going to come to you in June and say, okay, are they still there working with you, and what is their wage? Provide required documentation for reimbursement. This could be anything from the certification that you got for the training that you said you were going to do. It's also the invoice from the training provider that shows that it did cost what you said it would cost. Proof of payment is also on that list. So proof that you paid that invoice. And then a couple other things that would bore us right now, but the details can always be asked of your BSR. Provide projected employer contribution. That's that piece where I want to tell that story. Like OJT training should not be included in this, but what are you investing in your people for this that's connected to this training? So that I can then go out and tell that story of, we might be reimbursing them $1 million, but they invested $4 million. It's a really great story. I love that story. And then, of course, utilize the Pure Michigan Talent Connect. So if you have new hires on your application, that we're putting them on the Talent Connect. Just another job board for you. I know you have 6 or 7 of them, but we would love to help out as well. Key takeaways. Training must lead to a credential for a skill that is transferable and recognized by the industry. Online training must be live and instructor-led. A quality instructor-led hybrid course that is both modularized and live is allowed. So if it's some sessions are live, but there are some sessions that are recorded, that's okay. 100% online self-paced training that meets the USDO registered apprenticeship program requirement is allowable. That mouthful is just saying that if your training is within an apprenticeship program that has been identified as a USDO registered apprenticeship, you're fine. Whatever training you have in there is perfect. Human resources training is only allowed if it's a USDOL registered apprenticeship. So if there's any training that is identified as human resource training, it is not allowed unless it is in an apprenticeship program. And Weeblooms will display your score prior to submission so that you get a sense of where you're scoring, as well as after any modifications are made. So as we progress through the training year and we make modifications, it will tell us if it dipped, and we'll know right away. Michigan Works Agency is required to share the application with all partners engaged in the application process. Again, that could be the local economic development organizations. One that we share it with is our MEDC partner. Her name is Jessie Mitchell. Some of you guys might know Jessie, but she does similar work to us at a state level. So we put her in the know of everything that's going on so that she might have resources that she could bring to bear. And lastly, remember that the reimbursement will take place after all training is completed. And there's the process again, just in case you're not sick of me talking. I promise pictures. Here's pictures. If you don't know your BSR for your area, get in contact with NWM or nwmichiganworks.org. That'll get you right to the Michigan Works page. You can get on the business part of it and you can come find us. And we're all easily contacted. I was going to make up a word there, but I'll leave that for there. And then you can also take your screenshot here or wait for this PowerPoint to be sent out.